Good morning. Am I audible? Yes. So, what I'll do is basically talk about facts surrounding tiger conservation and what we do report usually. Tiger conservation in India is quite 30-40 years old. We have this Wildlife Act of 1972 which gives the highest state protection to tigers. Now, any of you people know the number of tigers in our country? Any of you? It's a very common, common knowledge. What would that be?
Around 2,600.
Yes. We have about the last study or last estimation of tigers was done in 2014. And it's called the estimation of tigers, and the number, they put a mean number, they put a higher number, and they put a low number. So the mean number was 2,226. Now we are also expecting that by mid of this year we will have estimates for 2018. In 2018, estimation was done for India, also in Nepal and Bangladesh and Bhutan. So we'll get a figure of the entire region. Now, to many of you, the question would be like, at this moment in 2019, early 2000, what do we call, how do we rate our conservation efforts? Do you think it is a success? Many people would say no, right? But in India, tiger conservation is a success. Because if you see how we have stacked our numbers, if you remember, I don't know if you people never remember, there was this advertisement going on, 1411 left a few years ago. So that was on the basis of 2006 estimate. So from 1411, we have now we increased it to 1706 in 2010, and now we have about 2,200. Roughly, we have about 2,500 tigers in the country. Now, like as a citizen, as students, you need to understand that where are these 2,500 tigers, right? In West Bengal, we know Sundarban, but Sundarban hardly has about 100 tigers. Where are these tigers located? So, if you like imagine map of our country, so we can divide it into different landscapes. What I'm trying to do is to give you facts regarding tigers. And if you have questions, you can ask me about this. So the first, at the topmost of the map, there is this Shivalik Gangetic Plains. Basically, states like Uttarakhand and the little bit of that Pilbhit area, Uttarakhand, that is the Shivalik Gangetic Plainlands. So there we have roughly about 300 tigers. Uttarakhand has quite a number of tigers. We have a number of national parks and there. And the largest chunk of our tigers comes from the central Indian landscape. Now what are the states in the central Indian landscape? Madhya Pradesh has the highest number of tigers in the country. Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra also has a significantly large number of tigers, Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh. Some tigers also are found in Odisha. Then we come, now if you've seen the north, you've seen the central Indian landscape. Now if you come south, a little south, we have the western Ghats landscape. That is also very important. It has almost the highest number of tigers, about 400 of them. Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Then we have some tigers in northeast, like Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, so and the Brahmaputra Valley, those regions, about 100 of them, and then we have Sundarban. So these 2,500 odd tigers are distributed like this. In terms of conservation, this has been a success story, but there has also been some mess around our tiger conservation in the country. like he was referring to that report which is there in public domain. There is an organization called NTCA, National Tiger Conservation Authority, which maintains database of all tigers killed. Suppose if a tiger dies somewhere, you have to report it to NTCA. If it's an unnatural death, you have to give reasons as to how it died, what was the age of the animal and all that. So every year we have more than 100 tigers dying. And almost half of these deaths are because of unnatural reasons. So, tiger will die, like everything will die. So any tiger death is not a matter of concern unless it dies of unnatural reasons. In 2016, 122 tigers had died. Slowly the number is reducing. You can see, this is the facts tell you. In 2017, 115. And in 2018, 95 was the report. It was published in mid of December. So by end of it, we can imagine there were 100 tiger deaths in 2018. Now, where are these tigers located? We have this tiger reserves in our country. How many tiger reserves do we have? Anyone? We have 50 tiger reserves. But a large number of our tiger population is living outside reserves. When we talk about tigers, you have to understand tigers are territorial animals. So they need a territory to survive, and all your protection laws are for the tiger reserves. Inside tiger reserve, you cannot go, you cannot do anything. Say for instance, in Sundarban Tiger Reserve area, if you want to go, you will not be allowed to go. Even fishermen who go and get killed there, they go illegally. Some in the South 24 Pargana region, there are some passes which are given to fishermen, though it's outside the reserve, but it has a population of tigers. So tigers are territorial animal and they need large amount of space to sustain themselves. Almost 40% of our tigers are outside tiger reserves. So what are tiger outside? Like when you have a tiger reserve, you have a buffer zone and then human habitation. In that buffer zone also a lot of human activity is there, a lot of human settlement is there, and that is the reason that is the area where a lot of conflicts are taking place. So if 40% tigers are outside tiger reserve, say Maharashtra is a classic case where you must have, I'll come to that Avni incident later, but where large number of tigers are residing, large number of tigers are residing outside tiger reserves. So you'll see a lot of conflict, human-animal conflict, lot of human-tiger conflict, lot of deaths in Maharashtra. So these are the figures about the death. Now, in 2018, 3 incidents happened, which every person should take note of. And if you look at all these 3 incidents separately, you will realize, what authorities are, what are the challenges before the authorities. How do we pragmatically, we all know that we have a protection around tigers, but you need to look at tiger conservation. So the first incident happened was in September, I think on November 3rd, this tigress Avni was killed in Maharashtra. This tigress, according to reports, had killed 13 persons, and accordingly there was an order given by the forest officials. As per the forest rules, the principal chief conservator of wildlife he's the custodian of all the wildlife, and he can give orders to bring down any animal. It's a tiger, it can be a tiger, it can be a leopard, it can be an elephant, whatever. He'd given the order and it was killed, and there was a lot of controversy about that. Now, at the same time, 2 tigers were brought to Satkosia Tiger Reserve in Odisha. Satkosia Tiger Reserve doesn't have tigers, so 2 tigers were brought from Madhya Pradesh, and this was the first interstate translocation of tigers. What do we mean by translocation of tigers? Usually, suppose there is a tiger reserve and the number of tigers has fallen down there. Usually tigers are translocated to that reserve and they are kept under some observation and they are allowed to be there, they are allowed to breed. Before the Satkosia incident, nowhere in the country there was an interstate. Like these tigers were brought from Madhya Pradesh to Odisha. Before this, all the cases of tiger conservation was within the state, like in Rajasthan from one tiger reserve to another tiger reserve. But no state by then had agreed to give their tigers to another state. So this was quite a significant thing. This was not much talked about in media. The Satkosia story. So 2 tigers were taken to Satkosia, one male and one female. Somewhere the male was taken, I think, from Kanha, and the female tigress was taken from Bandha. Now, within a couple of months of their translocation, they were under watch and all that. The female tigress was there was a lot of protests erupted, and locals said that this female tigress had killed 1 to 2 people. So it was put under some observation. It was then taken. It was isolated, and the male tiger had died. After a lot of post-mortem and everything, it was found that the male tiger got entangled in a tiger snare. What they do is poachers usually put a snare. It's kind of a metal, it's kind of a thing. So initially when we spoke to forest officials, we heard that there was some neck wound, but later it was revealed that the neck wound was because of a snare and somebody had put it there, and technically the tiger was poached. So the male tiger died. Now this was a major setback in terms of tiger conservation in the country, because after that incident happened, it was decided that 3 pair of tigers will be brought from Madhya Pradesh to Odisha. And after that happened, the NTCA decided to keep that translocation in abeyance. So they decided to stop with that. There was another incident which had happened in West Bengal. If people remember, there was this Lalgarh tiger, much talked about, much written about. So the story of Lalgarh tiger is that somewhere around March 3rd, 2018, forest officials had put up some camera traps in the Lalgarh region, and they found there was a tiger there in the Lalgarh forest. On 18th of April, if I am not wrong, this tiger was killed by locals. Now, when we spoke to forest officials that time, so they sounded very optimistic, because in West Bengal, the only surviving population of tigers we have is in Sundarbans. This tiger had come, nobody had brought, like in Odisha, the forest official actually carried a tiger in a truck from Madhya Pradesh 300 kilometers and brought it to Odisha, right? This tiger came on its own and was there for about 60-70 days, and it was killed. It was found that it had attacked people, and it was killed, and there were injury marks on it. Now, the question was that from where did it come to Lalgarh? So there were 2 possibilities which were given. One was from the Palamu Tiger Reserve in Jharkhand, which was about 400 kilometers away, and Simlipal in Odisha, which was about 100-150 kilometers away. Now, when we look at tiger conservation, why did this Lalgarh tiger come to Lalgarh? Like, this tiger must have come from some other tiger territory. So, this is, according to ecologists and tiger biologists, they call this phenomena as tiger dispersal. And there have been instances in other tiger-bearing states, particularly in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, where tigers have traveled hundreds of kilometers in search of territory. But I said that tigers are territorial animals, they need the territory of their own, and this tiger had come looking for a territory. It found forest and it was there for some time. By the way, the Lalgarh tiger had not killed any human being, and all it was surviving on was wild boars and whatever was available, whatever prey base was available in the forest. There were not much reports of cattle lifting also. So this tiger must have moved from some territory and come to Lalgarh, which indicates that the tigers in our tiger reserves are under certain stress. their numbers are increasing. They are territorial animals, and the male tigers have to come out and look for their territory. So, if you look at these three incidents, it will tell you as to what is the situation of conservation of tigers is there in the country. In all these three incidents, we had lost a tiger. A tiger was killed, a tiger was killed, poached, and in our reserves the numbers are rising. Now, if you talk to a lot of experts, they say that in India we have 50 tiger reserve, and there are people living outside these tiger reserves. Probably we are dealing with a issue where these reserves cannot accommodate any more tigers. So we are dealing with a problem of plenty. And once in 2019 the report comes out, we'll see the numbers must have risen to about 3,000. Then this question will be put. This is a very important question as to how, do we actually need more tigers, or can we actually deal with more tigers? We might need 10,000 tigers, but do we have the resources? Do we have we are a very densely populated country, and you have to understand that however hard we try, there are people living in forests, there are habitation, there are illegal occupants everywhere inside very near to the tiger reserves and all that. So the question which I wanted to tell you people was that though we have increased the number of tigers from 1,400 to about 2,300 in 10 years, the issue of conservation is a very difficult one, and authorities, state governments, they are all dealing with it. Now, since that Satkosia thing went wrong, there were assurances like there's something there are talks about getting some tiger in Buxa Tiger Reserve. Buxa is a tiger reserve, but there are doubts whether it actually has tigers or not. So there were consideration of some tigers will be moved from Assam and brought to Buxa, and but then everything for that moment remains kind of, it's not clear how things will emerge. Now there are a couple of other things which I wanted to talk about. These are again based on news reports and based on facts. Now, of late, in 2018 only, there have been reportings of two tigers at a very high altitude. One in Sikkim, about 10,000 feet. It was Pangolaka Wildlife Sanctuary, Sikkim East. And another was at Dibang Valley, which is almost also about 3,600 meters, about 10,000 feet. So, tigers can, all these, why are we getting these reportings? Is it that these tigers doesn't exist? They did exist, of course, they cannot suddenly. But with the increase in technology, there are more camera traps and the images are getting captured. So there is also possibility of a very high altitude tigers, particularly in Northeast, and there is some work going on this. Now, something about Sundarbans, what makes Sundarbans unique, as ma'am said, it's the only tiger-bearing mangrove forest in the world. No place in the world has a mangrove forest where tigers are there. Now, what is unique about Sundarban tigers is that there is a lot of mystery behind these tigers. 4 to 5 years ago, there were very few sightings or recordings of tigers. Like these days, every 15 days you see that there is a video clip or there is a photograph on television where tigers are being, have been sighted in Sundarban. But spotting a tiger in Sundarban was very difficult, and only, earlier when camera traps were laid and all that was there. And there's a lot of mystery attached to the Sundarban tiger because of the way that relationship between the people and the tiger. One, it is much more lighter than the tigers across India. Like, if a tiger somewhere in Madhya Pradesh weighs about 250 to 40 kilograms, here they are about 180, 170, something like that. This is probably because of adaptation, because it has to encounter very difficult territory. Tigers in Sundarban can climb trees. There have been incidents of them climbing coconut trees. And there have been two incidents which actually, tell how difficult it is for the tiger to survive. Like, I think in about 6-7 years ago, we had one report where a carcass of a tiger was found with a king cobra inside its belly. So this was reported by forest officials and we reported it. But whether it ate the king cobra and died out of poison, or whether it can eat king cobra, it was not. The carcass was there with a snake inside its belly. One incident, a tiger carcass was found with its lower limb being eaten up. So the only possible scenario could have been that it had, Sundarban also has crocodiles and saltwater crocodiles, so probably there was a fight between crocodiles and that tiger. So there are various things. Of late, because of the nylon fencing, there has been, if people go to Sundarban, you'll see a lot of nylon fences being put. So forest officials have put that nylon fence, and this thing of tigers getting into villages has come. And so Sundarban remains, and you have to also understand that India shares, Sundarban is shared almost 40% of it is in India and 60% of it is in Bangladesh. So there has been incidents of radio collaring of tigers which have gone to Bangladesh. So they have flown and gone to Bangladesh. So there is a lot of myth and mystery associated with tigers, and they tell that like Amitabh Ghosh wrote that in Sundarban tigers are everywhere and nowhere. So until it attacks you, you see only when it attacks you, something like that. So the question before us, the most important question is that how much do we need? How much are we equipped to deal with this tiger population? What will be the optimum number? And not only in case of tigers, we are seeing conflict in case of all cats, like leopards. Death of leopards is every day you find death of leopards in North Bengal, in Maharashtra. Then there have been instances of elephants being run over by trains. Even tigers have been run over by trains. In 2018, I think 2 tiger cubs and a female tiger was run over in Maharashtra. And so these are broadly the issues. These are broadly what we are dealing with when it comes to tiger conservation in the country. What my suggestion would be is that whenever you come across a news report, try and think in not only in terms of black and white, but also in terms of there has to be some midway in between, where we can both have conservation, we can also take the interest of the people living besides forest and inside forest in mind. I'll be very happy if you people have questions. I'll be very happy to answer that. Please. Please.
Just a few moments ago, you were talking about the railway incidents where 2 cubs were found dead in Maharashtra. Actually, in 2003, if my memory can recall it properly.
No, I can hear. No problem. Please go ahead.
Broken tail, one of the cubs from the first litter of legendary Machli. He was also killed near the Dara Wildlife Sanctuary. That was also an incident back in 2003. And my question to you is, how would you like to interpret the recent tiger sighting in Gujarat?
The Gujarat sighting, Gujarat had historically no tigers. Sikkim had historically no tigers. There was, unless you record or you have a photographic, because scientifically you have to put a photograph that this is the photograph, this is the tiger. So Sikkim had no tigers, Gujarat had no tigers. Gujarat, most likely the tiger came from Madhya Pradesh. Most likely it's straight as the Lalgarh tiger, which Lalgarh had for 100 years, they had no tigers. So this tiger is again a case of dispersal, where this animal is looking for a territory. It must be a young sub-adult male which must have gone there. If it is the case of female tiger looking for territory, then you have to consider that that territory from where the migration is taking place is under severe stress. So that can be the case, and if you check up a little bit more, previously when our railway lines and roadways were designed, these incidents of this consideration of allowing a kind of passage to, or what the passage was not considered. So these things should be considered when you have a railway line or when you have anything. I'll add something more to that, but first.
You talked about the success of our conservation policy, and you mentioned that the number of tigers has risen from 1,400 to 2,300. But what about the reliability of these numbers? You're talking about... just a minute. You're talking about the new study that would come up in 2019. I was told by reliable sources that there is a problem. You want it to be 3,000, but it is not perhaps 3,000. The thing is because of the, the pug marks, which are basically there when these counting take place. So the pug mark on a soft soil and the pug mark on the hard soil of the same tiger are different, and they are counted as two different tigers. But scientists and others, they have challenged that. And
I'll answer you. Pug marks was a technology which was used before 2010. These sightings these numbers are based on camera traps. So what happens? These camera traps are put inside forests at strategic locations, and this is what the NTCA and these forest officials tell us. And then all these images are put under a system, and there is a software which identifies tigers on the basis of their stripes. So there are two stripes, two sides on the left side and the right side, and on the basis of that is identified, and that is where you put it identifies individual tigers, and it does away with that, and that is why you put a mean number, like you put a 2,500 as a higher number, 2,000 as a lower number, and you come to a mid number. These figures are, to my mind, these figures are quite reasonable because we have 70-80% of all the world tigers. There are tigers left nowhere. In the Sumatran tiger is almost extinct, right, ma'am?
Yeah.
And there are some tigers left in Java. So this whole subcontinent, Java has also gone. So this is the species Panthera tigris which we are talking about, and this whole region, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, this I think has 90% of the tigers, and there is no reason to doubt these figures. You can doubt everything, but the technology used here is not pug marks. It is a software which is called M stripes, which they use, and that is how we are getting figures in Sundarbans. Like people in forest official used to boast earlier that Sundarban has 200 tigers and not, or something like that. But slowly and slowly, with these technologies coming, and we are getting into some kind of a number. Yeah. Anybody else? Bolun, please. Yeah, please. No, he's standing with the. He's there. You can ask you something yourself. No, the problem is, it's, when as students you look at these conservation issues, you have to always think that there is a huge cost involved in conservation, and we have to conserve a lot of our species. It's not only about tigers, it's about other species. By the way, do you people know which is the state animal of West Bengal?
It is the fishing cat.
So fishing cat is a state animal, and because of it was found in the wetlands, and because there are no wetlands left, there is hardly any fishing cat left. So, we do not know, we do not have any detailed study to tell the number or some estimation of fishing cat in West Bengal. So that is the status. Tiger is an animal which is lot talked about, lot reported about. So that's the thing. There is one specific thing which I want. It's not related to tiger, but there is one railway track. There is a railway track connecting NJP and Alipurduar. It was made from narrow gauge to broad gauge in 2004, I think. More than almost 100 elephants have been killed only on that track in North Bengal. So you can understand that sometimes some initiatives can have a huge cost on these animals. And whenever we think about conservation, you have to always think that there shouldn't be an utopian idea of conservation it will not survive in a country like ours, because tigers do not vote. So, anybody else? Anything else?
So we are spending so much of money to preserve the tigers, but are we being able to take care of their emotional health? Like whenever they come across people, they're being beaten up, they do not have friends, they do not get food all the time. So how can we help?
So there, like for instance, I'll tell you about the Sarkosia tigress, which is alleged to have killed 2 human beings. So Odisha government had when you get a tiger, and the states which do not have tiger, they want to hold. So it was decided that this tiger will be taken to the Nandankanan Zoo in Bhubaneswar. It's a big zoo. So Central Zoo Authority said that you cannot take a tiger which has had conflict with human to a zoo. So usually there are certain kind of guidelines where you cannot put these animals which are there in the wild to zoo, or animals, only injured animals or hand-reared animals are put at zoo. So there are some kind of guidelines are there. Earlier, hand-raised, cubs were not allowed in wildlife. Now there are some relaxations. So there are some kind of guidelines, but then you have to coexist. You cannot even sacrifice humans for the cost
So
of.
how can we take care of their emotional health? Like we give them food, but how does it?
No, you do not give them food. They survive on the food which is there in the forest.
But in the zoo, we feed them.
Yes.
And for tigers in the forest, they come across people, they eat. But how can we take care of their health? Like they have proper peer group, they can communicate.
No, you have to understand they are wild animals. They might look cute from a distance, but they are wild animals. And they are guided by this. The whole concept. It's a very in India. As ma'am was referring, the whole literature of Jim Corbett is about killing one animal which had killed hundreds of people and all that. So that is what, as you have to look at the both sides of the story. 13 human beings were killed by Abinu. Now, allegedly though, it was brought down. Whose interest was it? There are a lot of questions, but then there are incidents of human beings being killed, because even in India, your resources are so stressed that people go to forests, people go to Sundarbans every day to collect honey. So you cannot either blame the tiger or the person. That's the story. That's the situation. Please.
Sir, if we put aside this conservation thing, if we put aside this conservation thing, then how far do you think this tiger tourism concept has evolved? Like, are they the exhibition objects for passengers?
Yeah, that is for you people. That is what I was trying to tell you, that you have, when you approach your young students and when you approach anything, you have to question. So, this tiger tourism to me individually would not appeal much, but then there are people with different mentalities who would pay money to visit a tiger and
Actually, like museum objects, they are being
Yes.
exhibited.
Yes, they are being exhibited, but then there is another way, because some amount of funds are also generated, so probably the government and the authorities are interested in those amount of funds. But they're meant to be in wild, they are not meant to be in zoo, and you have to be fortunate that your country still has lot of tigers. Like the West and all has nothing left. All they got was specimens from here. So there is a need to conserve them, but they should be in the wild. Tourism is good, but to some extent.
Thank you.
So last question, please.